Welcome to the Coffee Kids and Crazy podcast, a show about creating heart-to-heart connection with your kids. Your podcast hosts, Brittney, Serpell, and Seth Dahl, are here to answer your biggest parenting questions so that you can become a powerful parent. So get ready for breakthrough as I welcome your hosts, Brittney and Seth.
All right. Well, welcome to Coffee Kids and Crazy. We are jumping in. We're having fun.
We are having fun.
We're making some momentum.
We are.
Talking about fun stuff, good stuff,
Talking
hard
about
stuff.
Animals, cows, hard stuff.
We're talking about most of that in between
Yes.
things, our farm life.
Mm-hmm.
But
My allergies.
yes,
Lord
what
help.
you don't hear, I hear, guys, of Seth's allergies. So you're welcome for that. Anna, our sound gal, she hears it too.
We could do a little like
No
when we
one
do our
wants to
meme
hear
party. We could do
Oh, the noises you make.
clearing the
Ugh.
sinuses party too.
We are going to save you. I will not let that happen. But we're going to jump into our meme though.
Yes, we are. I have a great meme this time. I love this one so much.
It was pretty funny.
It is. It's just words. There's no pictures on this one. It says, "My kids are so open to experiencing culture.
Yes.
They'll try anything, from chicken tenders at a Mexican restaurant to chicken tenders at a Mediterranean restaurant."
Wow.
I know.
So diverse.
Cultured
there.
children trying all the food from around the world
In the form of a chicken nugget.
in the form of a chicken nugget. Probably they are all bought from the same
Chicken
place.
nugget. I think French fries. Maybe
Any ice cream.
any ice cream. And grapes are normally they're willing to have at any restaurant,
Yeah.
whatever it might be.
Pizza usually goes well if there's a children's pizza on the
We
menu.
were at an Indian restaurant, which Ben and I love curry. So we're trying to get the kids to really embrace some of this.
Yeah. So you're
Beautiful.
just giving them curry.
Well, we're just all
In-
different
Yeah.
things. I mean, butter chicken, all the different yellow curry. We were trying.
Oh, I
But
love
on the kids'
curry.
menu, they had hamburgers and pizza. And I was laughing at they couldn't at least try to, but they know.
Yeah,
Kids
they know.
Kids are kids.
We're in
and
America.
they-
Those
yeah.
kids need
We-
pizza
we are in
and
America,
a
and they're
hamburger,
not going
not
to-
curry.
Oh, well. But I feel for all the parents out there with the picky eaters.
Yep.
Lincoln's my picky eater for sure.
Arrow is our super picky eater.
Yeah. Which is frustrating.
August tries to be picky, but then he is highly motivated by anything dessert.
Yeah, that's Lincoln.
And so he will be super picky until he realizes we're actually going to allow him not to have dessert, and he will eat.
He'll somehow
whatever.
manage
He'll
to
figure it
get
out.
down
It's beautiful.
whatever it is. But we were talking about anger, which is really just fake power,
Yep.
and really kind of the struggle that you and I have had in different seasons with parenting and pain and frustration and some different stories and maybe
Yeah.
the truth that anger had in some of that.
hmm
So
And times when we've doubted ourselves as
Mm-hmm.
parents.
we thought we'd air our dirty laundry for
Yeah.
you. That's what we're doing.
Yep.
Telling you all of our weaknesses.
Yep. Well, I have a time. So, like, I notice for me, like, I most of the time do pretty good with anger. Most of the time, I understand anger is fake power. There's something causing me to feel angry. What's the real problem underneath all this? So I know all that, and typically I do pretty good of going, I'm really hurt instead of being angry. Like, I get angry, but I don't want to sin. I typically do decent, but I have times, and I know for me, it's usually when I feel embarrassed. Like, I'm trying to do something. I feel like for me, it typically has to do with I'm trying to repair something or fix something or build something around the house, and it feels like everyone's watching and I'm not doing a really good job, and I feel
Maybe it's something
embarrassed.
you're not naturally good at.
Not
or-
naturally good at. I'm trying to learn this. I'm watching YouTube, trying to do this thing, but everyone, it's like in those moments, it seems like everyone's kind of there, like watching, and
What is Dad doing?
yeah, exactly. And so in those cases, for me, that's where I think it's not just I'm embarrassed that I can't do this. I think these are the things I'm supposed to do as a dad, as a husband, as a man. And so if it feels like if I'm not good at it, it's sort of pushing on this thing, trying to question, like, are you really a great man? Are you a really great husband? Are you really a great? So I get embarrassed that I can't be the man I believe I'm supposed to be because of this
You
one
don't have a strength
particular
in this area.
thing I'm supposed to build or make or whatever. And so those are the places where then I get angry because I'm trying to protect myself from feeling embarrassed or feeling not good enough. And so, yeah, that's where I have been angry, and then I
You
like
snap a little
I
bit
doubt
more.
myself, or I need space. I've had to get better at going, hey guys, I think I need to work on this one by myself. Can you?
Find something else to
But
do.
I've had to learn that one the hard way a few times
Yeah.
where I'm like, oh, I got really mad and I got really defensive and I'm not doing good in my head right now because of anger,
Yeah.
embarrassment.
Yeah. I do the anger is my emotion of choice when I'm frustrated or overwhelmed or something like that. So my anger looks really critical. That's probably how my anger comes out is I get really critical of what they're not doing, what they could have done, what should be doing happening, or why didn't you look at it like that? Often it can be when I'm scared. We have a farm with a guardian dog, and his role is to protect the animals. So if the kids bring down somebody without doing the proper initiation, it doesn't usually go well.
You
Which
mean like because the dog is there
Yeah,
and
and
that
so
dog is going to
then I get
protect?
scared
Yeah.
for my
Yes.
friends and then for my kids, and so there's been times where the reliving the situation, trying to correct them of what we need to do differently so we protect everybody.
Yeah.
I get really critical, and that gets really painful, and I have to pay attention to my concern for something that maybe they're very aware of it, but I
Yeah.
just get super critical, or even the house is a mess, and how many times have I asked you to clean your room? And there's lots of times where I just close the door to the bedroom because I don't
Yeah.
care enough on the fight part of it. Like I
Right.
don't want to
This
fight.
is not worth a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's times where I just can't handle it anymore, and it becomes a poorly delivered need that I have.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually a need that I have gone too long,
You've let it build up.
and now it is a beast that's coming out
I
of my
need this
mouth.
so bad. I need it right this minute. You better hurry up and meet my need. Rah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so those are the times where I need to pay attention to going in and asking for something. I had a need a long time ago, but I pushed it aside, or something else got the attention, and I now am this crazy.
Wait, are you trying to tell us you're not perfect?
Far from it. Far
Is
from
that
it.
what, if you guys don't know, Brittany has been working on a book. Actually, at the time you're listening to this, it very well may be done. I don't know. But it's called The Imperfect Parent, right? Maybe.
Something.
Maybe.
It's still in process at
It's
this
still
point.
in process, but that
But it might be out.
it.
Who knows? It'll be a surprise.
But you're not perfect.
No, and
I'm not
if
perfect.
If you look at our Enneagram, I'm a 1, which is the reformer or the perfectionist. So this idea of perfection is my own beast that I'm always, which I think is why the critical angry comes out. And so knowing my stress and what happens when I'm not doing good, and a lot of it has to do with not taking good care of yourself.
Yeah.
And not knowing when you had a limit that was being pushed and when to ask for help.
Yeah.
But my kids are older now, so I get to say, hey, I need a minute. You guys figure it out.
Yeah.
You're
Where
gonna
little ones,
You don't get a
they're not going to
timeout.
give you a minute.
Yeah, I can go. I'm not no fun. I'm going to my room. I can do that now.
I've had to do that a few times. Like, Daddy needs some no fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy needs some quiet time by myself.
So how do we help parents navigate in the throes of toddler, infant? Let's say there's 3 babies under 5 and under. How do they take good care of themselves? What's creative, realistic things?
You mean because typically, yeah, that whole like, I had a need a long time ago. I haven't taken care of it. I haven't mentioned it. I'm not basically boiling down to I'm not taking good care of myself. How do moms or dads with little children take good care of themselves? I think self-awareness is huge. Knowing what it is I actually need. I know for me, I need some time every day by myself
Mm.
with my Bible or a book or both. I need quiet. I have to have that. If I don't have that, I think like this is why it's actually for me traveling is really nice because like, oh, I have the hotel to myself.
Mhm.
I can wake up and I don't have to feed anybody. I can just take a little bit of time by myself and I don't have to worry. So I know for me that that's something I particularly need. I do a lot better if I've had it and if I have had it first thing in the morning. So I think self-awareness, what do I actually need?
Mhm.
And how can I actually meet that need? And how can I recruit?
So how did you do that when your kids were little?
For me, well, we're in the middle of it again right now. So Arrow's 5. The older kids sleep in longer, but Arrow's like 6:15. That boy is out, right? And we were really good at this for
I
a
can't get my
while.
kids up that early unless we're going on a
Man,
trip.
Arrow is trying to. He wants to be out there milking the cow at 6:30, and Arrow talks nonstop. He didn't talk for a long time because of his neurological thing with speech, but now he's getting way, way better. He's had a
He's
miracle
chatty.
happen, and he will
So
not
sweet.
stop talking. So it's not like 6:15. Come here and snuggle. It's 6:15.
Let's
You're
start the
talking.
day and go do all
So
the things.
okay, he may not be really small toddler right now, but I'm experiencing this. So the other day I said, "Hey, Lauren, if I'm doing homeschool at 8 in the morning, I need you." Well, we realized like I was a little bit snappy one morning, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I need and if I'm gonna do homeschool in the morning, I need you to help me
Mhm.
in the morning. Like if he wakes up, can you help get him back in bed versus me go get back in bed? Because I just need a few minutes by myself before I do homeschool all day while you're working. I need homeschool.
Yep.
I need this time. So communicating with her has really been helpful. You know, if you're a single parent, like, okay, that's a different level. You don't
Mhm.
have someone
Yeah.
else you can pass them off to or tag team partner or you got this. So for me, making sure I'm awake earlier.
Mm.
So I back then when they were smaller and I realized I am literally only getting out of bed when there's a child there saying they're hungry and they need me. And so I begin my day in reaction to meet other people's needs, which causes me to have unmet needs, which causes me to be a little more on edge.
Yeah, I think that's a key thing you just said. I wake up and am in response to someone else's need.
I was in reaction, not response.
Okay,
Yeah,
reaction. But that's how you
That
start.
was how I began my day.
the
Then
day.
I would go to work
Yeah.
at a
There's
church
lots
at
of
Bethel. It
needs
was like
that needs
everyone has needs that need
needs
to be
and
met.
needs.
And Seth's going, yeah, what about my needs? What about me? I'm running on fumes here, not overflowing. So I decided like, well, I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
I'm putting the kids in bed and I'm going to bed. So I'd go to sleep sometimes 8:45, 9 o'clock at night. I'm out. But 5 o'clock
I remember
a.m.
us working together
I'm
and
up.
you're Seth, you're already tired. It's 8:30.
I know. But I had to do that for me. Like, I need to wake up earlier so I can have some of my needs met. I need to recruit Lauren to help me with this
Mhm.
in these cases and meet my needs. I think also learning to recognize it and communicate like, hey, yeah, kids, I need a little bit of space. Toddlers are not going to give you the space.
Mhm.
But we also implemented quiet time.
Yeah.
So we taught our kids from the time they were little. We started with 5 minutes. Like you're gonna have time in your room, all your toys, all your books, everything you need, but you're gonna be in there by yourself and you're gonna just entertain yourself and figure it out. And here you go. Well, we started with 5 minutes, so that way it's like, wow, I got a 5 minute break. Oh, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So we implemented that
Weren't
as
they in
well.
their crib?
Yeah, they
when
started in
were
their
young?
crib,
Yeah.
18 months or whatever. They're in their crib. They have all access to their toys. They can play whatever they want. And we just did little by little by little, but to the point where it's like, oh, now in the middle of the day, twice a day, we have 1 hour of kids quietly playing in their room,
Mm.
and we get
2
alone
hours
time.
of-
You
yeah.
can take a shower, you can read your Bible, you can do all that stuff. So that's how Lauren and I implemented it when they were really young, was implementing quiet time.
So was the 18-month-old, did they cry when you first did it? Like, what's the process of expectation if someone were to implement that?
I think,
Because I didn't do that.
yeah,
Mm.
we knew they were going to cry at first, but we just, we tell them like, here's your toys. We're going to be right out here. We'll be back very soon.
Was it a nap time as well? Did it morph into that, or that
It
was
could.
separate?
Sometimes they would fall asleep and
Yeah.
they're playing and out they go. Most of the time though, they'd stay awake. So we just started tiny. And if they cried, we'd say, hey,
You're okay.
we'll be back really soon. Look, mommy's still here. Daddy's still here. So we'd let them see us. Like, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
And we know we're training. So we're not going for an hour of quiet
Yeah,
time right
it's-
now,
yeah, we're
alone
starting
time
at
right now. We're going for, we want you to see that we're here. Just
Mhm.
because we left the room doesn't mean you're by yourself, doesn't mean you're isolated, doesn't mean we're gone. Like, oh, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
See you in a minute. And then we go in, and after a few minutes, and then they realize, like,
Yeah.
oh, you're not leaving. You're not gone. I get to play.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay.
And at some point, they kind of surrender to the idea of like, oh, I have my toys. Let me play.
Mm-hmm. I loved when you guys did that. I never thought of that. It was always just nap time, trying to survive. Which my personality, nap time. Ben worked, and I was home, so nap time became try and get something else done.
Yeah.
Unless you have an infant who's not on the same nap schedule, then you're out of luck.
Yeah.
And maybe you're just trying to have some form of your own quiet time while the older one's napping.
Yeah.
And it's just this juggle. So the self-awareness piece, I think, is really key. And then doing what fits in your schedule. I remember
Yeah.
my mom would come over for a couple hours a week just to let me be in my room.
Yeah.
So I could.
Yeah. I don't need to leave. I don't need a grocery shop. I just need to be alone by
need
myself.
some space for a second. And Ben was always really good when he got home from work.
You take them.
Tag. I know
Yeah,
you've
right.
had your own full day. I've had a full day too. It just looks different. I know everyone has different dynamics, whether your husband goes to work in the middle of the night and has to sleep during the day.
Yeah.
So I
All the
think
factors.
being strategic in how to pay attention to what your needs are before you get depleted. Because when you're depleted, you become desperate. And a desperate
Yes.
person looks very different
Yes.
than a full and healthy.
That's when we go into fake power, anger.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to get some power back in my life because I am so depleted, so
I'm
empty.
grasping for something.
Yeah.
And usually that grasp is a child and your connection.
Yeah.
And you are just ripping it to shreds because you're desperate.
Yeah.
So the strategy around, okay, what is my need? What could I ask for? Single parents, this is where you...
How can I do this?
Yeah, I'm
with-
finding other single parents. I remember a story of these two moms that were in an apartment complex that would share kind of babysitting throughout the week.
Yeah.
One would take her kids for an hour
Yeah.
and then vice versa. And it
Swap.
just created this understanding that we have these needs and
Yeah.
how can we serve each other.
Thank you for listening to the Coffee Kids and Crazy podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe and give us a rating. When you rate the show, it helps other parents find us. Please go subscribe and rate the show now.
It's really cool too. I have a friend, she's got a 16-year-old daughter, single mom, had her kid when she was a teenager, just one of those scenarios. And she's raised her whole life. But this mom found herself, my teenager's at home, COVID hit, my girl can't go to school. She's all by herself all day. I have to go to work.
Mm.
So she's feeling like I have a need to have more time with my daughter. I'm leaving the house at 7 a.m. to go to work, and I'm coming home at 6 o'clock at night because it was like a 45-minute-hour drive
Oh, wow.
to get to work. And my daughter's home all day. It's not like she's at school and then she comes home but she's like, I literally only see my daughter in the evenings. And she's really struggling. Like, I have a need to be more with my kid.
Mm.
My kid has a need for me to be with her. Like, we're
I'm
not
sure
doing good.
the isolation, all that stuff.
And
was
this mom
fun.
started praying, and she wrote this whole thing. I loved it. I reposted it. She's like, God gave me a mom job, the mom job I needed. So now she gets this job. She makes a lot of money. She's a graphic designer. So she makes a lot of money doing social media for her gym. So she gets to go to her gym with her daughter, work out, take pictures, do stuff. Then they go home. Her daughter does school. She sits there and works. And she's like, but she prayed. She's like, God, I need a job that will help me be the mom I need to be, will meet my needs as a mom and my daughter's needs as a daughter, teenage daughter. It's not infant, but
Yeah.
he answered it, and I'm like, oh man, and they're loving it,
Mm-hmm.
they're killing it right
That's
now.
awesome.
But it was one of those things like sometimes we need like, yeah, what do I need? And God, can you? I know I've had times like that where I'm like, I have no idea how to do this, but God will give me the idea that I need of how to actually get
Mm-hmm.
my needs met, or give you the job, or give you the time, or give you the friend that can swap you babysitting.
Yeah. It's all about putting that request out to the Lord. And I sometimes we think it and we'll declare it, but there's something different when we have a diligence to, I need an answer.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do, Lord?
Yeah.
I'm your kid just as much as they're your kids. So
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
And, I just recently had that moment with working, Loving on Purpose world, being homeschool mom. Delaney's able to do most of it, but the younger two require
Need
a
some
lot
help.
more.
Yeah.
And just my health organization that I'm a part of, and giving out there and wanting to do a really good job, but I can't do it all.
Yeah.
I can't do it all. So you have to figure out what are my needs and what's my capacity, and be okay with the capacity, and then ask for the Lord to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that I don't feel like he's ever overlooking that question of, here's my limit, and this is where I lean in for trust.
Yeah.
And
I think that goes back to the episode too, where we talked about like sometimes we pick up too many things.
Mhm.
Like, God, is there something I need to actually stop doing?
Yeah.
Is there something I need to let go of? Is there something I need to quit right now so that I can only care? It's like if I'm dropping my kids
yeah,
and
don't drop your
if I'm
kids.
dropping my family for all these extra things,
Uh-huh.
potentially I need to put those down so I can pick the family back up. Like that's a huge one right there. God, not just what do I do to get my needs met, what can I quit to get my needs met?
Yeah.
Might be another good question
That's
to ask him.
sometimes a hard question.
That is.
A hard question to ask. But
That's-
I think we should talk about really unpack the fake power piece, because I know you talked about anger, I talked
Yep.
about anger, but what is it that anger seems to satisfy or give us in that moment? What do you think of that? Like when you're in the moment and anger comes out, it's doing something,
Yeah.
but what is it? It's an illusion. We know that. But
Yeah.
what are you searching
I think
for?
it gives me a sense of control where it could be more than that for sure. But I think what I know for me, it's like, oh, I'm so out of control right now. Anger provides this, haha,
Mhm.
I regain control. Haha, I'm in charge here, not you, not the scenarios. Anger typically for me gives me a sense of control, which I know is not real. It's not even possible. It's all a lie.
Mhm.
It's all, yeah. But for me, that's what it gives me. Like, wow, I felt completely powerless. I felt completely out of control. I felt so scared. And it provides this, aha, now you have it back. No, I don't.
Yeah, what you said, I feel powerless. So anger tricks us to believing that we feel powerful.
Yeah. That's why it's the fake power,
And
which is usually a sign what you're if we have anger coming out of us, we need to go, I probably feel powerless in some area.
and I think about all the times where I've used my fake power as an illusion of control to gain influence to have a different outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And how many times that it's happened is one of two reasons. One, because my children are afraid of me,
Yeah.
which is the last place that I want them to
Yes.
be, is afraid of me.
Yes.
And the outcome is a version of influence. It's not, there's no ownership. So if I'm looking for ownership of a problem from them, I'm not ever going to gain it through my fake power of having anger.
Yeah.
Because it's only through relationships that I actually gain influence that helps them have responsibility for whatever we're talking about. Being disrespectful, being hurtful to their siblings, being not cleaning their room, not doing their chores, When I bring in the anger dragon, they're
Yeah,
moving, but they're not moving because they've taken ownership of anything.
yeah. No, I think we've said this last year sometime, but I've noticed there's times where it's like some of the best behaved kids are just the most afraid kids.
Oh yeah.
Like, why are your kids so perfect? Oh, they're scared to death because we use anger all the time to control them, but there's no ownership. They're not protect. But then you have other kids that are like really well behaved. Well, why? They're connected. They're loved. They're safe. They're protecting something. They're not protecting themselves from you. They're protecting you from their poor choices. So they make better choices to protect your heart versus protect themselves from your attack. So I think that's something to pay attention to. Like, just because kids are well behaved doesn't necessarily mean they're connected. It could mean they're super afraid because we've been using so much anger to try to make them do what we want to do.
Yeah, and this is where, we've seen fear tactics for a long time, too many years now, and just this swirl from mandate after mandate to, this illness and this pandemic and the outcome that our kids are almost used to. If you don't obey, someone's going to get angry at you. So we have to live in fear of someone being angry at us. Now, that is a pretty normal dynamic in the home sense,
Yeah.
but it's not normal when you go to the grocery store.
Right.
And it's not normal when you go to school
Yeah.
as much
Yeah.
as in home. This is how someone talks to me or treats me. It could be the culture.
Yeah.
But it is why I feel it's so important to confront this battle in your house right now more than ever is because the world is so trapped in fear right now
Yeah.
that being able to pull apart what's behind this fake power of someone getting angry or being mad at you and changing your goal in the home is going to set your kid up for success to be able to walk in a real authority of knowing, oh, that's just that fake power. You're really afraid of something, which I think helps our kids love people better.
Yeah.
Because they don't look at this thing as intimidating. I mean, nobody likes when someone's mad at them,
Yeah.
whether it's in the home or not.
Yeah.
But my ability to look past that and help teach my kids that anger is just fake power, which one, how you do that in your home is you clean up your messes.
Yes.
Two, you have to manage yourself and your own triggers and your own big red buttons and your self-awareness.
Yeah.
Those are three things to chase after there. But the more you're able to do that at home, the more in our current state when we're walking around and anger and scared is everywhere, your kids get to identify it.
Yeah.
And they get to say, they must be really scared, huh, Mom?
Right.
And that's my favorite is when my kids look at this fake power
And see it for what's on.
And see it
see
for
what's
what
really
it is.
underneath it. Yep.
and their ability to adjust, not because of fear of something, but because they're going to love someone well.
Yeah.
And that is a powerful outcome for whether this has been the culture in your home or not, but you and changing that and being able to send them out in the world of, I can spot your fool's gold of power. You don't have that. It's
Yeah.
really, you're just being scared.
Yep.
So I think the more we can chase after getting rid of fear in our home and not having it.
I think that you mentioned something about cleaning up your mess. Like in these times where I've been angry, that's how I've approached it with my kids as well, to try to teach them, so they're constantly learning, like, anger's fake power. Dad got angry, and I've said, hey, you know what? I used anger because I was scared. I was afraid you were going to get hurt. Whatever, the guard dog, I was afraid someone was going to get hurt. So I yelled and I used anger to protect me from feeling afraid. But really, I was scared. And I'm sorry, I didn't say, I feel scared right now. I used anger to try to stop you from doing something. So cleaning up our messes is super important. And how you clean them up, you can actually help them continue to learn, like, oh, I was angry because. Anger is a sign of. Anger just represents I was really scared. So when you see other people using anger out in the world, it's a sign they're probably scared, or they're totally powerless, or they're really, really hurt, but there's always something underneath. But when I clean up my mess for the times I've not done perfect, not done well, even that is training in there's something underneath this. It's not just the anger that's the problem.
Yeah. And I mean, in the last season when we've been out and we'll see something happen, someone's, frustrated at another person or whatever. I usually get in the car with kids and go, what do you think that person needs? What do you think's going on? Why do you think they did that? And it's just trying to have them be looking objectively, because when it's directed at you, there's a lot of emotions, even with our kids.
Yes.
With our kids, there's a lot of emotion. With other people, there's a lot of emotion. Even if you witness it and it's not directed at you, there's still emotion. So paying attention to, let's identify this and this experience of feeling overwhelmed, intimidated, whatever it is, what's going on, so we can call it for what it is and then lean into what could be done differently, or what do you think they need, and how can we help do a good job loving that person.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're paying attention, and you're applying this in their relationship with their siblings,
Yes.
with other family members, yourself. Hopefully you're practicing what you preach. You're doing a good job of that. But I think really big key here is some self-awareness as parents.
Definitely.
And knowing when you are depleted
Mm-hmm.
and you're in survival, because I think that's going to influence, you're no longer able to give very well when you're in survival in any way. And so when you wake up and react to an immediate need, which I love how you said that, it just sets the tone for your day. And
Whole day.
I think that's how a lot of parents start their days.
Yeah, and never get out of it.
Yeah.
I think, too, self-awareness matters. So does kid awareness.
Yeah.
So does season awareness. COVID hit. It's like, you know what? We're watching way more shows than we ever did. We're watching way more movies. Like, wow, we don't normally do this much screen time, but we are in a season of figuring something out we've never been in before. So I think there's those times, too, where like my needs change based on the season.
very
Are you
much so.
working from home now and trying to homeschool and have a farm?
Yep.
Okay, so I think season awareness, kid awareness. What's my kid need right now? How do I help meet that need for them as well, or at least help them become aware that they have a need, and self-awareness? What do I need? Spouse awareness too?
We just need to be aware.
Just be aware.
Just grow
What's
in
happening.
awareness of the things,
Yeah.
of all the things,
And then you probably get angry a lot less.
probably. All right. Well, we would challenge you in going to figure out how to grow yourself in awareness, and don't parent out of a place of desperation.
What about this? We mentioned at the very beginning when we doubt ourselves as parents, like if you've messed up, if you've been angry, hey, clean up your mess. This is a normal part of life. None of us are perfect. Brittany's not even perfect. My gosh, neither am I. So, like, clean up your messes, teach your kids, move on. Don't doubt yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Adjust what you need to adjust. Meet your needs. Find what's under the surface. But that whole thing, when we doubt ourselves as parents, like, wait a second, I can clean this up, and I can move on, and I can keep going.
Yeah.
Because none of us are going to do this perfectly.
No, but you were given these kids because the Lord trusts you.
Yeah.
So I think I would lean into that when the doubt comes.
Yeah.
Is remember this was a gift from the Lord because He believed
Really
in
believes in me. Yeah.
you. So, all right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
You got this. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Never miss an episode of the Coffee Kids and Crazy podcast by subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watch it on the Loving on Purpose YouTube channel. That's it for this episode. We'll see you next time.